everyone. Welcome to this episode number 3 of the series that is thanks to Docster, learning Amiga Assembly 68K with Docster. Yes, no more hiding behind my logo. From now on, I will show this. Also, it's a lot better than me vanishing. It was annoying me that I was vanishing while I was... So like that, I'm always visible now. And as things are, I'm showing exactly as things are. Well, part of the room, you're just seeing one corner. There are 4 corners to this room, no? And it's all retro. So yeah, it's a change. I mean, this is thanks to my partner that I have this new setup. Before I had a mess, but she decided that she needed a table that I had behind me. Okay, and instead she thought that a bookshelf would be better, which I have lots of bookshelves that side. So what I had to do is take the books from there and bring them here, and also reorganize here, because of course before I had the Amigas on the table, now I had to put them there. But at least like that, you can see my Amigas, my, let's say, 2 main ones, the A600 and the A1200. Eventually, I will be using them. And also next to me, there is the C64. And you cannot see, but I have cameras on each one of them. So, yeah. So yeah, this is how it will be from now on. So today, okay, I'm going to ask you to be a bit patient and not to run, okay? The reason why is if you want to follow me and do what I am doing, you cannot run. You cannot go ahead. You cannot go ahead of what I am going to do. The reason why is you think I'm going to do something and I will do it differently, more than you think. And there's a reason why, and I will explain. We all like to see software. We all like, okay, let's start playing with the mouse. But on this one, please don't. So that, like that, we you can follow me, because it will not be possible to go back. Just saying here, but yeah. So let's start with our usual ritual so that we settle down. Okay. I do not have a sponsor, no, but I tell you what's happening. And good question, actually, Hound Dog. The first one, Retro Passion, he has been recapping my Amigas. I mean, not for free, I'm paying, but he's doing such an excellent job that I felt I have to say, okay? He has done already about 4 machines of mine, okay? And I have 2 A1000s now, and he's going to do those too. I mean, I haven't sent them yet, but I will. But the job is so good. I mean, I do not trust anyone else now. Let's say I have like sort of a relationship with the guy. So yeah. So that's why. And the other one, Mr. Chenery, I cannot even say it. He's my neighbor, literally behind me. Literally, I mean, seriously, if I go from the back of my house, okay, I just need to turn to the right, and there's his shop. He has got a retro shop, the only one in this area. And every time I go there, he gives me stuff. So that's why he's there. I felt you can see this joystick here comes from him. Actually, even this one, both of them, they are his work. So yeah, I felt I have to show or make people know about him. So that's why they are there. Nothing else. So as always, Nemo. Ciao. Thank you for the bits, Nemo. My God, thank you. Just came in, Nemo. Much appreciated, Nemo. Thank you. Grazie di essere qua. Non so che dire, Nemo. Sei troppo gentile. Grazie. Guys. Nemo, I do not know. Sometimes my bot, I do not understand. It's only, this is happening only to certain. I need to do it from here, probably. This is only happening to certain people that come into my chat. I do not understand why. Why they're being... it doesn't happen to everyone. I cannot understand why. So, Nemo, I do apologize. It's something that has to do with Streamlabs, and I cannot understand. I cannot understand why it is happening. Yeah. So sorry, Nemo. I do not know why my bot. It's only doing it on a particular thing, and I cannot figure it why. It doesn't happen on everyone that come to my stream. There must be something unique about some people. I don't know. But yes, thank you, Nemo, and apologies for this strange behavior of my bot. As always, you understood why, really? What is the issue, Hound Dog? I really cannot understand why it is doing it, and not on everyone. So, as always, I start with please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's the only way I know how to share what I do. Really? Nemo. No. I need to check. Okay, thanks, Howdog. That's a good observation. I will need to check. Definitely. Please, as I said, subscribe and like my YouTube channel. And remember that under each video, normally there are links to sources or to other things related to the video. And if there are sources, you get to Mega, where you get access. Here you're seeing the public version, so people that come here probably come and download everything. But of course, if you are a Patreon... Oh my God, Nemo! Nemo, thank you very much. Oh my God. Thank you for the cheers, Nemo. Honestly, man, thank you. Um, I left me without words now. Um, uh, yeah, thank you very much, Nemo. Okay, Nemo. Grazie. Ciao. Ciao, my friend. So, normally people come to my public and probably they download everything, but trust me, Mega is more bigger than that, and there are files that only supporters can access. Hello, Dr. Honey. Um, uh, please subscribe to my, sorry, follow me on my page, Facebook page. Subscribe on my Phase 101 Facebook group, and of course subscribe to Commodore Dev group. I need to change the image of this. The DEV is not really, I mean, this part is okay, but I need to change here where the text is. But anyway, so Hound Dog, maybe you can think of making Commodore Dev a bit different. I think it was your idea, no? I can't remember. Anyway, um, yeah, so subscribe to Commodore Dev. If you, I should show this first. Guys, you can write messages to me on Facebook. I take my time. Hello, Docster. But if you write messages to me on Discord, normally I'm quite fast in replying, except when I'm busy with my woman, let's say that, or when my woman takes my time, or work. But anyway, so yes, come to Discord, to my Discord. If you don't like Discord and you don't like Facebook, then you can join Telegram and you can write to me there. If you want to support us, then you will unlock 95 exclusive videos related to development for you currently, and the same thing is on Coffee, so you can select whether it's Coffee or Patreon, whichever you like. They are the same, they are a mirror of each other. There is no advantage between one and the other, so up to you. I want to keep both. You tell me, oh, two sites to update, but the thing is, people seem to prefer either one or the other. I mean, I don't know, but I left it there. Just a small thing. May I remind you that we have another game jam, Retro Programmers Inside and myself, or Phase 101, which is Retro Snake. You can do any game like the Snake game. If you want, it ends on Easter Day, and please read the rules, okay? Don't do like somebody write a Windows game and send it to me, because it will be disqualified, okay? Nothing against Windows, but there are so many groups related to Windows writing games. We do not need to do that. No, I mean, we are interested in 8-bit and 16-bit machines. So even if it has the feel of retro pixel art, it's still not retro. Okay, it runs on Windows. So yes. I'm going to jump to my screen and you're going to see something today. So this is what I want to achieve. I have WinUAE with certain configurations, and I have FS-UAE with certain configurations, and I have also Linux. Okay, I need to log in, or it logged me out, and it's also running FS-UAE. Now, this is what I did when I was testing. Now, as I said in the beginning, okay, and please, please listen to me before you start touching that damn mouse, okay? Do not go and start playing with the mouse because it's a software and you start clicking there, there, and there, okay? You will not get it right. I'm telling you. If you don't know the configuration of an Amiga, you will not get it right, okay? Also, if you want it to work from everywhere, you will not get it right. So please, let me talk and follow what I say. I'm not trying to be, bossy here, but I know, I know what people do. So yeah. So let's start from WinUAE, okay? Now, most of the things that I will explain for WinUAE are also for FS-UAE. I will cover WinUAE, of course, that's window only. I will cover, yeah, Master Prince. I will cover FS-UAE on Windows, and I will cover FS-UAE on Linux. Just one thing. Nothing against FS-UAE, okay? Nothing actually. FS-UAE have some things which are this thing of you can play games online with FS-UAE is quite cool, okay? But when it comes to certain things, I mean, it's getting there because I noticed, I downloaded the latest version and I noticed certain things that it has improved a lot. But it's still, there's still that little thing missing from it. So WinUAE still wins. That is all. In my opinion, okay? I mean, I'm talking using the emulator for development, not using the emulator for playing games, okay? So this is what we need to achieve in the end. So another thing, I will try to use the zoom feature, but I doubt I will manage, guys. I'm going to be honest. I try to use it, and because I have more than one screen, actually I have 4 monitors connected to this stream. It does a mess. I will try to use it, but it has no idea. It thinks that you only have one monitor. So yeah. So it's not the best software that one will want to use on a while you are streaming, let's say that. Anyway, I'm going to do two things, okay? Because I'm showing you WinUAE and FS-UAE, but I'm going to delete what I did, okay? So I'm going to start from fresh. Or actually, what I will do, I will rename them. So it's like they are not there. And I have the habit of doing old and old. Just in case I need to refer to them, but I shouldn't. Okay, so let's start with WinUAE. And I'm going to install it on my D drive, okay? So let me I have downloaded them, okay? So it's not that I'm doing. Before I start, I want to show you something, okay? Yeah. I'll send you the link where you can download WinUAE. So there are two types: the installer version and the portable version, okay, without the installer. Basically, they are both the same. However, this one installs a number of folders. This one is just the exe of WinUAE. Normally, because I know what I'm doing, I use the zip archive, okay, the portable version. I do not need the installer. But I'm going to show you the install version because this you need to know quite a bit. This is easier, okay? So I have it here, okay? I downloaded it here, and I'm just going to click on it and tell it to install. So I hope you can see here. I cannot really do zooms, but oh, it asked me. Oh, I needed to do an uninstall. Correct. Okay. So give me a second. So let's make a copy of it. Not FS-UAE, WinUAE. Paste. Okay, and rename it. Let's uninstall it first. Remove. Removing does take some time. I do not know why, but it does take some. It does some checks. I do remember it takes some time. I mean, some time. But it doesn't remove it just like that. And you can see it's doing removing shortcuts and stuff like that. So yeah. And it finished. And the directory WinUAE is still there with stuff that I did. So I'm just going to delete it now. I have a copy of it. And we're going to start again from fresh. So downloads. WinUAE. Install. As I said, guys, do not run. Follow me. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there are some people that know how to use WinUAE, but then there are people that think they know how to use WinUAE, and actually they don't. And I've seen this on certain type of emulators that I've seen running, being distributed. And yeah, what I'm going to show you, it will run from everywhere. Not you need to have C drive and installed in this directory, okay? And this is quite important, in my opinion. Plus, we will only configure standard configs. An Amiga with, I don't know, 8 megabyte chip mem and half a mega or half a gigabyte of RAM does not exist, okay? So let's be realistic. So where did it install? Okay, first one. I installed it in program files, I assume. Wanted it not in program files. Crap. Yeah. I'm going to do another uninstall. Sorry, guys, but yeah, I did not want it in program files, so I'm going to do another uninstall. Sorry. My fault this time. And there's a reason why I do not want it to be in program files, which you'll understand in a minute. On Windows, on program files, you need to be admin, no? So that is not the aim. Okay, come on, remove everything. Take some time. I never understood why. It says removing the shortcuts. It does so many things. Anyway, hello Proton. So let's start again. Let's run it. I'm going to install it on D in my case.
Hey, listen!
Yeah. Thank you, Hound Dog. So, at points, and everybody gets 10K. Done. Okay, so we have WinUAE installed on our machine, and it creates these 3 folders, and you have WinUAE 64.exe. Okay, if you are running on Windows 64-bit, which I assume everybody does nowadays. So when you run it for the first time, okay, it starts in quick mode, okay? And if you had to start it, okay, because it doesn't have any kickstarts, okay, it will start using arrows, okay? Now, this is not what we want, of course. We want our kickstarts. We want the Amiga kickstarts. You can look them up on the internet. I'm not going to provide links for kickstarts, but you can look them up on the internet and download them if you don't want to buy them from Cloanto. Up to you. The easiest and best solution and cheapest solution to get them is to buy them on Android. They are for $199, I think. You download them on Android, and then from Android you copy them to your machine if you want to have the official ones. I mean, up to you. I have the official ones. I even have over here. I do have the original Kickstart CD. So yeah. There it is. I'm going to hide that, but there it is. I hide the license. Anyway. Yeah, I'll grab the ROM from the Amiga and transfer it to the PC. So, first things first. We go to paths, okay? First thing you do, okay, is change from WinUAE. Actually, in my case, it took it sometimes, okay? And I'm pretty sure it does this, okay? Sometimes it goes to the WinUAE user directory. I mean, I think it's because I had it configured earlier. It remembered that. I believe this is the default user directory. Change that to default exe directory. So where we have WinUAE, where we have installed it. Like that, we can configure the paths to be relative. In fact, there's an option, use relative paths. So to use relative paths, you need to be in the WinUAE default directory. Now, one thing that I do is I create a directory ROMs. And so I told it a relative path ROMs, and I'm going to create one here called ROMs. Let me create it in the same case. Then I'm going to copy all the ROMs into this directory, okay, which I'm going to bring from the old one. Okay, now, once we've done that, tell it to scan the ROMs. And it starts reading and saying which ROMs you have. And it comes up with a list of ROMs that it found. Okay? So, we have the ROMs in our Amiga, in our WinUAE. Now, we can do the rest. Now, this is up to you if you want to do it. I do create the other one. So this one, I create screenshots, state for state files, videos, images, and rips for when you're ripping things. So let's create them. Notice configurations comes by default, okay? I didn't create that. Okay, so we have WinUAE, let's say, with the base configuration. Okay, so now we go into quick startup. Okay, and notice that the quick startup is for an A500 with Kickstart 1.3, 512K chip, and 512K slow RAM. Okay, for now it's enough. If we start it, it will not come up with the arrows kickstart, but with our kickstart, and that's what we need to test. There you go. We have kickstart 1.3. So F12 to go back to it. Okay. And now we can start doing configurations. Now, under configurations, under here, there is another directory called host. Okay. This is the default of WinUAE. I do not touch them personally. I create everything under here, under configurations. So the first one that I'm going to do is I'm going to call it default, just for the sake of, and I'm going to save it. Okay, I called it default and I'm going to save it. So, and you'll see that here I create the default WinUAE file for configuration. There you go, you have default WinUAE. Now this default is the same as quick start. I do it just to have one that I will always fall to. Okay, just in case, even if I mess up the quick config, I have a copy of it, just in case. It's not that I will, but yeah. Anyway, now from the default config, I base all the other configs. So let's create an A500. I will not cover hard disks yet, okay? Just basic configs. And the A500 has got this. Okay, so A500 underscore 512K chip underscore 512K slow. Okay, or fast RAM, depends how you see it. And I forgot to mention it's kickstart 1.3 KS113, and I save it. Okay, so I created the A500 here. Now, just by creating it, it's not enough. I'll go and check that everything is fine. Okay, so here there's nothing to check. It is cycle or emulation speed is that of the A500. It's the address bus is 24, etc, etc. So it is as it should be. Chipset, here is where some people get this wrong. It is OCS. The A500 is OCS. It's not ECS. It's not AGA. It is only OCS. Okay, so OCS it has to be. I like to wait for the blitter. So if you are coding, you need this. Okay, so I tick the wait for blitter. Some people do not have this enabled, then they are coding and the blitter always works for them. But when you take it to the real machine, it will not work because they forgot to tick that. So wait for blitter, have it. The other thing that most people don't do is this. Cycle exec. You go to the real machine and it will not work. Okay, so cycle exec is important, very important. So we've done the chipset. Advanced chipset, nothing to do there. Okay, ROM, it should be kickstart 1.3, which is fine. One thing that I like to add is not the action replay, but the HRT mon. Okay, it's like it's the same as action replay, but action replay. Thanks, PlayVot, for following. Thank you very much. Say hello. I'm not going to bite. Why I prefer HRT mon instead of action replay? Because action replay, there are different versions of it, and you need for example, what you use for the A500 is not the same as the A1200. So because HRTMon is the same as the action replay, okay, in a way it was based on it, and the commands are the same, I prefer to have HRTMon on all different types of Amigas, and like that, okay, if I learn HRTMon, I learned one thing. I do not need to bother about action replay, although the commands are the same, I have to say. However, it's the modern way, okay, so I prefer to have the HRTMon freezer in my setup. RAM. For the A500, this is correct. You can see chip RAM is 512, slow is 512, and that is correct. Floppy is nothing, hard drives nothing yet, expansion nothing, RTG nothing, and then it will display hardware info if we had anything to check. Actually, I need to check one thing. Yeah, extra chipset extra is 500. Okay, that I needed to check. Now display. This is how you want it to look. Normally, I do 1280 by 1024. Okay, that's what I normally do. But I leave it, okay, that it can be centered horizontal and vertical. Okay, so I enable that, and I believe I enable this now. What is it? That it is proportional. I think I'm saying that, but I think that's yeah, triple buffering. Yeah, just leave it like that. I tend to do here the same. Also for full screen, okay? But windowed, I like it 1280 by 1024. However, it will still keep its proportion, so do not worry. This is how you see it. It's not, if there's a border, it will create the border. Sound, I leave the same. Game ports, normally, if you have a joystick, like in my case, it detected it, and I just enable it, okay? IO ports nothing, input nothing, output nothing, at least for now. Filter nothing, at least for now. Yeah. Disk swap nothing. Here, I do add some stuff. One is synchronizing the clock. I would like to have, like I have a real-time clock, so it is there. And let me tell you what else I like. The copy and paste, where is it? I was pretty sure it was somewhere up here. Clipboard sharing, this one. Thank you, Hondo. I don't believe there's anything else that I add to it. Yeah. Nothing else. Now, we've done these settings. We were on the A500 Kickstart, okay? We need to save them, okay? So those settings needs to be saved, okay? And if I load the default one, okay, I loaded it, okay, you will see that those settings are not there, those that we edit, let's say for display, for example, it's still 800 by 600. But if I load the A500 now, okay, I loaded it and I go to display, it should have 1280 by 1024. Okay, so that's the A500. Now, after the A500, we do the A600. So we load the A500 and we change it to A600. So I clicked load to make sure that I have the configuration of the A500, and I do A600. I change here to make sure that it is A600. Well, my description basically. A600 takes kickstart 2.5 and it's 2 mega chip. I mean, it comes with 1 megabyte chip and then you can upgrade it, but I'm going to make it 2 megabyte because most people, that's what they do. And there is no slow. Okay, so we save it. Now, the A600 is with the configuration of the A500 right now. So we go and start changing things. So here we leave it as it is. Okay, it's still a 680, it's still a 68,000, so still 24-bit addressing. Chipset, full ECS. Okay, that's the A600. And chipset extra, A600. Advanced chipset, nothing. RAM, it's not kickstart 1.3, but kickstart 2.5. RAM is 2 megabyte chip, and it has nothing else. Okay? So these are standard machines, what we are doing, okay? Floppies, we leave it the same. Hard drive, we leave it the same for now. Expansion, we leave it with what it came. So it knows it's an A600. RTG, we leave it as it is, and it gives us the hardware info of the A600. Display, we leave it as it is, because it took what the same parameters for that we did for the A500. Sound the same, game ports the same. Basically here there's nothing to change. It will be the same settings as we did for the A500, this lower part, okay? See, clipboard sharing is there and synchronized clock is there, okay? And we save it in the A600 config. Now we do the Amiga 1200. Okay, so we have the A600 and we're going to do the 1200. So we name it, the file is A1200, and you will see them here now being created. These are the configs that we are creating. We change the description to A1200, kickstart 3.1, and 2 megabyte chip. These, as I said, are the default. And we save it, and we should see A1200 created. Now, CPU is not 68,000, but it is 68020. Okay? It is not 24-bit addressing, so we need to untick that one. Chipset, it's not ECS, but it's AGA. Exec cycle, again, important, and wait for blit. And chipset extra, it has to be A1200. Advanced chipset, we leave it as it is. ROM, it's not kickstart 2.05, but kickstart 3.1. And for the A1200, okay? Same, I use, you see, on all three machines that we created, we have the same action replay or HRT mon, okay? RAM, it's 2 megabyte chip, same as the A600. Floppy is nothing, CD nothing, expansion nothing, RTG nothing, hardware info is what we have configured. Display remains the same. Sound remain, so everything here remains the same basically. Okay, this is how you want it to be seen. So this part. Okay, there's nothing to configure. So basically we make sure we save the configuration, and we have 3 configurations, and we can test them. I mean, we already loaded. Let's load the A500, start it, and we know, you see it took the screen resolution now that I told it, the 1280 by 1024. It's there. Okay, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't have a hard drive. It can only recognize floppies right now as it is. So it boots from floppies. So F12, let's check the A600. You do load, and it restarts. Okay, so it loaded the configuration, and we started. And we should see Kickstart 2.05. And again, waiting for a floppy to be inserted. And that is the Kickstart. We do F12 again. And we load the Amiga 1200. Load, and we start it, and the same thing. It is 3.1 ROM, and it's waiting for the floppy. Now, why you need a configuration without a hard drive, and why you need one with a hard drive? Well, some games, remember, the Amiga did not have hard drives back in the days. They came later on. So the A500, for example, did not have hard. In fact, the Workbench of the A500 does not install on a hard drive, but you can copy it and then configure it. I'm talking about Kickstart 1.3, although I believe later on Kickstart 1.3 did have an installer, but Kickstart 1.2 did not. And Kickstart 1.2 does not install on a hard drive. Just for those that do not know the story of 1.2 and 1.3. So we have the 3 machines, the 3 most important machines of the Amiga. So F12, and that is WinUAE for now. Okay, I'm going to exit from it. Sorry, I'm going to kill it, and I'm going to make sure that when I start it, okay, it starts as I configure it. So paths, it remembered everything. Okay, if it did not, these will be dots. Okay, except for the configuration file. And that's when you know you lost the configuration of WinUAE, but normally you lose it because you did not create it, that it can work relative. Because what people do is copy this directory of WinUAE and move it somewhere else. And if you don't create it relative, it will not work. So let's jump to FS-UAE. Now, FS-UAE, in a way, is a bit simpler to install in terms of what you need to do. So let me do this. Now you will need FS-UAE for Linux and Mac. I do not have a Mac machine, so I will not be able to show it, but FS-UAE can be downloaded from, well, this is the main page, downloaded from here. Now, you need to download these 2 files, okay? FS-UAE 3.1.6 and FS-UAE launcher, okay? Now, once you unzip them, actually, I did not need to rename FS-UAE because I didn't change anything. Once you unzip them, you copy the FS-UAE directory under a directory of your choice. I named it FS-UAE, and under FS-UAE I have a directory, another directory called FS-UAE, which is the first file, which is this one. And then let me make it a bit bigger. Oops, too big. Okay, so this one, FS-UAE, is the first directory that I have here. Then FS-UAE launcher is the first directory that I have here. And they are under one directory, FS-UAE. I'm going to rename it back because honestly, that's all you do. You unzip them and you put them under one directory. There isn't much to do. I mean, not like WinUAE, okay? So, once you unzip them and you create a directory and you put them there, and you keep them separate, okay? So you created a directory on top of it, but they are separate. However, it's able to find the path. It's able to find, they are able to find each other, basically. You go under FS-UAE launcher, okay? Windows, in this case, x86-64, and there should be a file called FS-UAE launcher, and you run that one. Okay, now there are my configs there, okay, which is the same configs that we created for the WinUAE, but I'm still going to tell you what you need to do and show you what you need to do. If you recall, the first thing that we did on WinUAE is tell it where the ROMs are. Okay, so you need to do the same here. Now, on Windows, there is something that hurts me. Okay, the thing is, it creates the directories under documents. Okay, I do not like it, and that is fixed. Unfortunately, it is fixed because on Linux, okay, because remember, this is a Linux product, which it's a cross-platform, and because probably it is developed on Linux originally, you know, on Linux, they use the home directory and then they create directories under your home directory. This does the same, but it doesn't, it does it under your user in Windows, which I do not like. But people that are Linux based or Linux oriented cannot understand this. Okay, I prefer to have them where FS-UAE is. Okay, because if FS-UAE is just a zip file, you unzip it, okay, and you run it from there. Why shouldn't my configurations be also there? But they cannot. I think it's hard to explain it for somebody that is Linux oriented. So I'm going to show you my documents directory, and you can see there is FS-UAE there. Okay, this, as soon as you start FS-UAE launcher, this directory is created and the directories under it are created. Okay, so I didn't create these. Okay, now there is a directory called kickstarts. You copy the ROMs under it. Okay, same as we did for FS-UAE. As we did with WinUAE. WinUAE, we copied under the directory that we specified. Here, you are forced to copy under documents FS-UAE kickstarts. Okay, it does have an option, okay, in settings under file database, I'm not mistaken. But these two, you are not able to change. Okay, you can add more, so you can add a second directory where you have more ROMs or kickstarts, where it will look into, but not, but that one is always there. So FS-UAE doesn't work relative, unfortunately, at least on Windows, because I have FS-UAE on my D drive and my kickstart ROMs are on my C drive under user. So yeah. However, once you copy the ROMs, you tell it to scan. You can either do it from here, okay, import kickstart ROMs, or if you did not, in my case, because I'm using the same one, if you start it for the first time, you'll have a message down here and you can click on it and it will do it. So I'm just going to run it from here to show you what it does. Okay, so import kickstart ROMs. You tell it from where, and I'm going to tell it from my documents, FS-UAE, in my case, kickstarts. Select folder. You can see it there. Okay, and then tell it click import. If you have the Amiga Forever from Cloanto, you can also import them from there. So tell it import and it starts scanning the directory and it will import the ROMs. So we did the ROMs. Maybe I should delete these. If I can. Does it allow me to delete? There isn't an option to delete. That's how much I use FS-UAE. I thought there was. Oops. Not yet. I'm not seeing it. Maybe settings? No. One thing I didn't say. By default, it comes like this. Okay? If you click on these three burgers type or sandwich type of, it will open this menu. Okay? So just to, and then you can get the settings also from here, the same thing as you have from, if you click. So this settings menu here is the same one as you have on this side settings. Okay, so there's no difference between them. Now I wanted to delete. I want to delete. Okay. I think I'm going to start again from the beginning if I won't find the way to delete it. Well, what I will do instead of deleting everything, let's create a new configuration. Let's create the A500. No, but it's better. No, I'm going to delete everything and start again. Yeah, it's better. Let's delete this directory because you need to delete it to start again from the beginning. This is what I had under documents, and I'm going to go under D, what I had, and delete FS-UAE. So it's completely fresh, okay? I'm going to bring the two directories, so I'm going to create FS-UAE here. and I'm going to bring the two directories that we downloaded. Okay, so FS-UAE, and the launcher. Okay, so now we need to copy the ROMs. Sorry, we need to start it first. So let's go to launcher, Windows, x86-64, and create and start the FS-UAE launcher. If you notice, let me start another window just to show you. So under my documents, there is no FS-UAE right now. Okay, there is no FS-UAE. So as soon as I start it, it will create the directory FS-UAE. There it goes. You see, FS-UAE. There is no way of not having that directory there on Windows. Now we need to copy the Kickstart ROMs. Okay, so I'm going to copy my Kickstart ROMs into it. So let's get them from WinUAE. You can see Kickstarts there, and we paste them. Okay, so FS-UAE on documents is ready, and FS-UAE on my D drive is okay because I just launched the launcher. So what did I say? Look, to import the Kickstart ROMs. So you click here and it brings up that window that we had before. Browse, we tell it where it is. In my case, it's documents. FS-UAE Kickstarts is going to do it. Import, and it will do it. And there you go. We have our Kickstarts. And you can see it found all the Amiga versions basically. Okay, so it comes with settings already for the different models. Okay, but let's create the A500 and we tell it to save config. So this is the name of the config and it's going to save it. So that's the A500, but we want our way of config. So Amiga joystick, you can see it detected my gamepad and my mouse. Okay, I'm going to enable this so that I have these three here, and I'm going to make it in auto plus border. Okay, so I have a window and it grows according and it keeps the proportion basically. Accuracy is high. It did not have to have it. I mean, I don't know when they added this accuracy thing, but before it was not there. I mean, I remember it when I last used it really, but it's good that it has it. Okay. Here we are saying that it's windowed. Okay. And we start going through the other tabs. So floppies, nothing to do here. CD, nothing to do here. Hard drive, nothing to do here yet. kickstart. Now it says default, but I like to change that, and it gave me by default kickstart 1.3, which is fine. It doesn't always detect the kickstart that you want, so that's why I prefer the custom, and like that you see it. Extended ROM, no, nothing there. Just leave it as it is. Now chip RAM, in this case 512 and 512 slow. So for A500 it's okay. Joystick, it knows what joysticks I have. Here, do I enable? No, nothing. I do not enable anything from here. And here I do select the CPU, even though by default it checked the 68,000, but it also doesn't always get it right. Well, when you want a particular configuration, to be honest. The cartridge, same thing as we did with WinUAE, use HRTMon, okay? The rest I do not enable. Yeah. And we can save it. So now the A500 has got these settings that we just did, okay? Now from the A500 we create the same as we did before, the A600. And we do save. Okay, now we need to change it from A500 to A600. The ROM is okay in this case, and the joysticks are still okay. Floppy is still fine. CD-ROM is okay. Hard disk is okay. Kickstart ROM, because I had custom, I need to change it. And it should give me kickstart 2.05. Should be this one. Now chip RAM, it needs to be 2. Joystick will remain the same. Here nothing to enable, and it's still 68,000, and we still need HRTMon. Just going to 2.05 ROM. Okay, and we save it. Same thing, A1200, and we select A1200, and it comes with Kickstart 3.1, so it's okay. Why on the A600 it didn't let me select 2.04, but anyway, I do not understand why. Maybe it didn't find the 2.04 ROM, but here you can see I have 3.0 and 3.1. I mean, we want 3.1. So this remains the same, this remains the same, hard drives remain the same. Now we can leave it default there because it detected, and chip RAM is the same. Joysticks is the same, nothing accelerated here or nothing, and CPU is not 68,000 but 68EC020. Okay, that's the chip of the 68,000 of the Amiga 1200, and the same the cartridge, HRTMon, and we save it. I'm just going to load the A600, okay, and I'm going to do where we had to start here. I'm going to do default, leave it as default, and save it again. I want to see what it does, because I was forcing it, but if it detected it by here, I do not need to force it there. in this case. Sometimes it doesn't get it right. So yeah, in this case, it seems fine. And we can test them. So let's start the A500 and you click start. And there you go. That's the A500. A600, start. There you go. You see it keeps the proportion as it should. And the A1200 on FS-UAE. So we have the three machines. Okay. How much time did I? Okay. I thought I will do more than this today. So we've done FS-UAE on Windows. So let's do it on Linux now. Now, I do not consider myself, although I know a little bit about Linux, I do not consider myself a guru, let's say that. Although I use it, it was never my favorite OS. Although recently it's becoming more my favorite than it was before. So to install FS-UAE on Linux, where did I had this one I need. So there is this page. I installed Debian actually, but yeah. You will still not convince me, the Aussie, about Linux. Even though you have even the Linux sticker on a joystick for the Amiga. How can you have that? So there is this page, and if you want to do the Debian install, you just copy that with your user account into your distribution, into your and it will do sudo. Of course, your account needs to be able to do sudo to be able to install FS-UAE. So just copy this line, these lines in your shell, okay, in the bash shell, and it will install, and you'll get something like this. Where is it? File system. And notice I didn't go for Ubuntu, but for Debian. Also because I wanted a cleaner OS, let's say that. It's under your home directory. I think it's under documents, yeah, and the same thing, FS-UAE. You see, this is where it comes from, that it's installed under documents. And you have the kickstarts there. You copy the kickstarts here like I did, okay, and you tell it the same thing. Now, to run it, okay, so it's under documents, okay, that's established. In Linux, what you have to do is type fs-uae -launcher, okay, or you can run it from, but I prefer to do it from here. FS-UAE launcher. And it starts, and you get the same thing as we had before, okay? Same thing, you need to tell it to scan for the ROMs, okay, which you copy under the Kickstart directory, same as we did for Windows. No, Ozzy, I do not agree. You do not need to install Office on Windows. You just need to install one of the open free offices that there are. And you just need to remove the installer for Office. So I'm going to do the same thing just to show you. I'm going to tell it where the kickstarts are. So in my case, documents, FS-UAE, kickstarts, tell it open, scan, import, sorry, and boom, it does it. Yes, this is FS-UAE launcher. And it did it, okay? It found the kickstarts, etc., and it did it. So, as you can see, I created the A500. From it, okay, I'm going to create the A600. Oh, I double clicked it, so I started it. So, A600. I know, you use FS-UAE. Yeah, exactly. Dr. Honey is there. Look, he said it. So, A600, okay, we're going to save it. It's based on the A500, okay, right now, because we had the A500. We changed it to A600, okay, and I want to make the window smaller, yes, so that you can see it all. Okay, so, and the same thing like before. Of course, here it did not detect my joystick because I'm not, I didn't tell VMware, VM player to detect any of my USB devices. So it will not detect my joystick. But it doesn't matter. So we started with A600, floppy nothing, CD-ROM nothing, hard disk nothing. Now, I didn't check. Okay, so it detected the ROM, so no problem there. So we leave it like that, but we change it from 512 to 2 mega chip RAM. Okay, same as we did with the other one. We continue the same, and you see CPU remains the same, 68,000. Freezer cartridge will leave HRT on, and as before we have auto and border, okay, and we save it, okay, and now we do DA 1200. My god, how many messages? I didn't read anything. How much did I miss? Okay, so let's do the Amiga 1200. We tell it Amiga 1200, and it selected the Start ROM 3.1. Okay. Floppy is nothing, CD-ROM nothing, hard drives nothing. Chip RAM is 2 megabyte. Joystick we leave it as it is. Nothing, no accelerators, and now CPU is not 68,000 but 68EC020. And freezer cartridge remains the same. Nothing else, and we save. So in terms of settings, the FS-UAE is easier. Okay, it's much more quicker and not much. It does, if you use the FS-UAE launcher, it does most of the things for you. And we can test our configurations by running them. You see here we have start, and we know we're going to start in a window. Okay, you can change this and it will be full screen, but we start in a window. And we can see that our configurations are going to work. So that's 1.3. Okay, for the A500, we start the A600. And we start the Amiga 1200. So we have done all three configs on WinUAE and FS-UAE in Windows and in Linux. And how much time did I? How much time? Okay, we have half an hour. So we have done the emulators, the setting up of the emulators, but we haven't covered hard drives. Okay, I'm going to cover hard drives now. Now, there are many different ways for hard drives, but the easiest way and the best way is to be able to see the directory. You can create an image like what you do when you have a VMware machine and you create a VMDK, a VMK, sorry, image. But it's better to have a directory and have like that. Whatever is your host OS, you can copy files easy between the Amiga and your host OS and vice versa. So this is the method that I'm going to explain. Now let's start our WinUAE again. So there is this, we have configurations. Now let's start with the Amiga 1200. So I'm going to start from the high end, not from the low end now. And there's a reason. We load the configuration of it, we have it, but now we renamed it. So we leave the default as it is, and we say it's an HD version. Okay, so it has a hard drive, and we also, in our description, we indicate it as hard drive, and we save it. And you can see now that we have a standard A1200 and the standard A1200 with a hard drive. Okay. From here, we go and configure. Okay, if we click on it and we load the configuration to make sure that we are in the Amiga 1200 HD, we go and configure the hard drives. Now, this is my way. You can have other ways. What I do under WinUAE, I go and create a directory called HDs. Under it, I create A500 HD, A600 HD, and A1200 HD. So we're going to do the Amiga 1200, right? So we can add a directory to the Amiga. to the Amiga 1200. So add directory, okay? You can create images, okay? But let's not complicate things. And also, it's difficult to work with images. So let's create a directory, okay? You click on directory, you give it a name. Amiga uses DH, okay? So this is the first hard drive, so it's DH0, okay? Volume label, okay? You cannot, and I specify it very clearly, okay? You cannot name the hard drive system, okay? Because the Amiga internally has a directory called system, and it will get confused which directory you are referring to. So it needs to be something else, especially if you name it system when you have Kickstart 1.3 and 2.0 or 2.4. It will go mad. So I like to name it Amiga OS. Do not give it the name system. And you will see when we install the OS that there's a directory called system, okay? And now we select the path. The path is where we have our WinUAE, HDs, and we said for the Amiga 1200, it's where our HD is going to be. And we select it. It selected our, it set, this is our configuration. We need to make sure it's read-write, of course, and that it is bootable. Okay, the hard drive. Any other hard drives that we add do not need to be bootable, but the first one needs to be bootable. So the 80 needs to be bootable. Click OK, and we have it there. Okay, it's called Amiga OS, and that's our hard drive. We save it. Remember to save. Okay, so we save the configuration. If we go and start it and see what's going to happen now. We don't have an OS in it, okay? But see what's going to happen. Start. We don't have an OS, but the shell, we get it. Okay, and there's nothing there. You cannot do dir, there's nothing, but we did get the shell. This is where the Amiga differs from DOS. Okay, the Amiga, I do not know how to explain it or how to say it, okay, or from Linux. The OS, the shell, is there. So even though you have nothing in the hard drive, the OS started and the multitasking started. DOS, okay, when it starts through command com, okay, does not start multitasking. It's single, it's not doing anything. But here the OS started. I'm saying this for Dr. Hani because he asked me this question last time about why I killed the OS. The OS is there. It started, even though there's nothing in our hard drive to do, but the shell is there. Exactly, because part of the OS is in the ROM. Hence, you get this prompt. F12, and we load it again, and it restarts. Now, I'm going to create the hard drives for the others, okay? So the same thing as we did for our A600. We load the configuration first, okay? Then we save it as HD. And we say it is HD. save it. So we have A600 HD, and now we assign the hard drive to it. A directory, DH0, Amiga OS, and path, we select the A600. And we make sure it's read-write and bootable, okay? And then we go and save it again. So we did the A600. We can start it also if you want. And again, it gave us the shell. So let's do the A500. And let's save it. The A500 with hard drive. And same thing, DH0, Amiga OS, and we select the A500 directory. Okay, and we save the configuration, and we have our three OSs with hard drive. Let's boot the A500 with nothing in it, okay? And again, we see that it booted into the shell. By the way, something I didn't mention. When you click into the emulator, to get out of it, you either click the middle mouse button and you get the mouse back, okay? Or you can click F12. F12 is to get your menu also back, okay? So we're going to load again the A500, and we have the hard drives in WinUAE. FS-UAE is roughly the same, okay? So let's do FS-UAE. FS-UAE. So let's start again with the Amiga 1200. Let's go and do the hard drives. Let's save it HD first. Okay, save, and we have 1200 HD. So now we need to tell it the hard drive where it is. Now I'm going to use the same hard drives that I have in FS-UAE, in WinUAE, okay? Because they will be the same. I do not need to install the same one for all the OSs. It will be the same, okay? So basically, I'm going to go out. I mean, it doesn't matter in this case. Select WinUAE, HDs, okay? And I'm going to select the 1200 HD. Select, it is there. It doesn't need anything else as far as I know. No. I'm just making sure. Yeah. And let's save it. Same thing for A600. Reload it. Sorry, we rename it. We save it as it is, and then we add the hard drive. Oops, not there. Notice that in FS-UAE with the launcher you are limited to 4 HDs, okay? But in reality you can have more. So there is our HD for the A600 and we just save it. We do the same thing for the A500. And we save it. I don't think there is anything here in settings that you need to specify. I don't recall. No. No. Okay. So that's all it needs. So if we start one of them, let's say that, let's start the A1200, it should behave like WinUAE. There you go. Boom, you got the shell. And same for the others. I mean, I'm just going to test the A600, but yeah. Anyway, it's the same thing. And you can see there's less options. Okay? Please. Yeah. There are less options. On Linux, you can go and create, where is it? Documents, FS-UAE, and we can do the same thing. Actually, it has one which is hard drives, and you can create your hard drives here, basically. So, actually, no. Create folder, 500 HD. A600 HD. A1200 HD. Okay, and then we can launch it again as before and do the same thing basically. So A500 HD, save, and we give it the hard drive where it is. Save. A600 HD, save it, configuration here, and we select A600 and save it, and A1200 HD, save it, we create the hard drive for it, and we save it. If we boot the A1200, we should see the same as before. You see, it's there, it's booted into the shell. And same like the others. I mean, let's try the A500 because we didn't try it in the other one. The color, the blue color, which everybody knows. There you go. So we have the hard drive ready. Okay, and I'm going to switch back to WinUAE. Okay, so now we need to install the OS. No? Like when you install DOS, you need to install the OS for the Amiga. So far we have seen WinUAE, FS-UAE, Windows, Linux, and we configure the hard drive. Now it's time to install the OS. Now the OS, you can get it, okay, from the internet. Type Amiga Workbench 3.1 and you will find it. Okay, so it's not difficult to find the Workbench. Okay, so let's boot the Amiga 1200 and install Workbench on it. So what you need to do, configurations, and we go to my screen. Okay, that. Okay, configurations. Okay, and we load the Amiga 1200 HD. There's a reason why I'm starting with the Amiga 1200 and not with the others. There's a history behind it, but yeah. And remember, we're installing 3.1, not 3.14 or 3.2. You need the license for those, like you need for this. So these mostly are available on the internet, not the others. Up to you how you get them. You can buy them from Cloanto, whatever. Not responsible, okay? So what we need to do is we need to, I mean, the Workbench comes on floppies, no? So we need to mount the floppy, the first floppy, okay? Now, to mount a floppy, you go under floppy drives and you click the F0. So the F0 is where you mount the floppy. Click here. I have the part where the where my Workbench is. Okay, and we start, there are 6 disks, okay, and we start with the install disk. Okay, so I need to be careful which one I select here. And I selected my floppy, okay, to boot with, and start installing. So let's start our emulator, and it's going to boot. This time we're not going to see the shell. What we're going to see, Workbench. Or at least we should see Workbench. Let's say that. There you go. So let's make it a bit maybe bigger for you guys. So install 3.1. What I didn't check. Yeah, and you see our hard drive is there called Amiga OS. Okay, so install. Now using a directory means we do not need to partition the hard drive. It's already partitioned and it's already ready. And that's another thing that I wanted to avoid because it can become complex there. So, English version. Now, guys, I tell you, if you're Italian or any other, just still install the English because local, local languages at that time were not the local languages as we know them today. So you will install in the Italian, but you might encounter some issues. So install the English is the best way. Especially with the older ones, with the older versions of Workbench. Because this one is not bad, but previous ones, it is. So try to stick to English if possible. So we clicked on install and we're going to start basically. Proceed, install release 3.1. Now here it asks you novice, intermediate, or expert. It's up to you what you want to install. But if you use novice, it's not an issue. It will just do all the actions for you. If you use expert, you'll have to confirm everything. I'm going to use expert to show what it asks, but to be honest, novice is still fine. So installation options, we are installing for real because you can pretend to install, and no log. Proceed. Do you want release 2.1 installed on the Amiga OS partition? Yes. English. Now here you can add other languages, but honestly they do not work as you expect them they do not work as you expect them in like Windows and Linux today. So try to stick with English. Yeah, North. Yeah. Or Svenska. Proceed. Printers, I have nothing to install. Keyboards, this is important, okay? If your Amiga has got an Italian keyboard, install an Italian keyboard. If your Amiga has got an English keyboard, install an English keyboard. And if your Amiga has got an American keyboard, install an American keyboard. But do not install something else that your keyboard is different, because it will make mess. And trust me, it's not easy. I mean, you can revert, but you need to go and fiddle with the command line. So I'm sticking to British, okay? Or you can install different ones and then you select, because there is actually a keyboard selection, okay, if you want. I'm going to install the British and that's it. Actually, I'm going to install also the American. Why not? Maybe I change the keyboard, my USB keyboard, I change it and it will become, I will have American also USB keyboards. So maybe I will do that. But the default one is the British one. And it starts installing. Now, it said, please insert Amiga Workbench. Okay, so there's a disk called Amiga Workbench. So we need to insert that one. So how do we do that when we don't have access? So press F12. Okay, you get this. Go to floppies. Okay, and change to Amiga Workbench. Oops, this one. Okay, and it will install. Continue. Click OK, and it should continue. Proceed. It should detect. And it's still, you see, it detected the hard drive, and now it's continuing to install. Now you have to give it time. I mean, once you insert the disk, the Amiga reads every disk that you insert. So you need to give it time. Not like DOS, you insert the floppy and boom, it's ready. The Amiga needs to check the floppy, that it is correct and all that stuff. Anyway, it's installing installing Workbench right now. There are six disks to go through, so we will do them all, and you will see that then it will boot from in my next session, I will show the other Workbench, but I needed to start from this one. So now it's saying Amiga local, okay? So again, F12, and we change the floppy, Amiga local. So this one is disk 5. And you see, it removed the Amiga Workbench, and it's going to get the local. And it's installing things. Now it needs the extras. So 12. Extras is this 3. And again, removed, and it will edit, and then it will proceed. Okay, so now it needs the Amiga fonts. F12. So this is, so the disks are not in sequence, okay? It's not with the same number. So fonts is disk 6. I'm losing my voice, eh? What what did you write there, Hound Dog? I do not understand a thing. I mean, I do not know Klingon, and I'm not going to try to understand it neither. So, Amiga storage, F12 again. Storage is disk 4. And now it needs again install. So basically we are at the end of it now. And voila, we have installed the OS. It reboots, but we need to do one thing. We need to eject the floppy, as it will try to boot from the floppy. Okay, so F12, and yeah, there you go. So I wasn't quick enough. Restart. Configuration. We'll make sure that it is A1000 HD and tell it to start. And boom, we have the OS, Amiga OS installed. Okay, configuring the OS is another subject, but remember in the beginning, or a bit not in the beginning, when we were doing FS-UAE, I told the FS-UAE that I will use the hard drive of the WinUAE, okay, same hard drive, because the Amiga is the same hard drive. No, whether it's FS-UAE or WinUAE, it's the same hard drive. So I'm going to close WinUAE, okay? I'm going to start FS-UAE. Okay, there they are. So start. And voila, WinUAE, FS-UAE, same hard drive, okay? Boot it in both emulators. Of course, I cannot do this on Linux, but if I copy the same directory, remember, so under WinUAE, I created HDs and then the directory A1200, okay? And this is our Amiga OS, okay? You can see that there's a directory called system. That's why you cannot have the hard drive named system, okay? But if I copy this directory into my Linux directory, it will also boot on Linux, okay? I need to share this directory to be able to do it, but I will copy it and then I will show it that it boots in the next episode of the series. So we installed the A1200. We have an OS, not configured yet, but we have an OS. We will do the same with the other OSs, with the other machines, and then we will configure each one, okay, to show you what you need to have. Basically, for today, we finish here. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me and having this patience, following me. I'm going to rate Amiga Bill. Okay. I'm going to kill the Amiga because it's the click. Guys, as I said, thank you very much. I hope you have a lovely week. I will continue streaming during the week, the book, and hopefully on Tuesday, if he's still here, we will see Ozzy with some updates that he did on his game. If not, probably you will see me streaming the book. So guys, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this stream and that it was informative, and see you tomorrow, Tuesday, anytime, because I'm streaming nearly every day now. So thank you. Bye bye.